Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Black Woman, a podcast featuring Black women from different countries. I am Cameron Red, and today I am joined by my most amazing co-hosts, Lauren Edwards and Nicole Davis. And in this episode, we're exploring a very powerful topic, empowerment through education and career, our journeys as Black women in the professional spaces. Now, as Black women, we know that education and career are more than just paths to success. They're ways we define ourselves and claim our power in a world that doesn't always make room for us. Today, we'll share our personal stories about how education has shaped who we are, the career challenges we face, and the importance of mentorship and representation. If you've ever wondered how to navigate professional spaces as a Black woman or felt like you're fighting against barriers, this episode is for you. So let's dive in and talk about how we rise, overcome, and thrive in our career. So, Nicole, Lauren, how are you ladies doing today?
Hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be.
Actually, yes, all of that.
I'm just going through it. Have you done your Italian, Cami? Do you know how to say good morning, good afternoon, good night?
I know ciao, I know salve. Let me see. No, I do not.
That's your assignment for next time.
I know how to say where do you live?
What's your
That's a good question. That's a good start.
Yeah. What's your address? Yeah.
I'm single. Okay, we need 10 questions in Italian for Cami. So
okay,
out there, guys, Italian, please.
If you're listening, anyone in Italy, men, women, please throw some questions my way. Absolutely.
Italian.
Yep, in Italian, because I am learning Italian because it is my hopes that when I go on this international tour, I will come back with an Italian sweetheart.
Stallion, they call it. Italian stallion, I think.
Yes. Listen, as long as he can cook and teach me some techniques as well, we're good, okay? And I mean that in various ways.
Oh, God.
All right, ladies. So let's dive into our topic today. Today we're talking about careers in education, and I want to start with the fact. I pulled a Nicole, and I went and did some research, and this comes from the World Economic Forum and Our World Data, and it says globally, the women's labor force participation is increasing, but Black women still face higher unemployment rates in comparison to other groups. In the U.S., the unemployment rate for Black women remains higher than it is for white women. So I pulled those facts. I also pulled some facts about Black women in other areas. Countries like Barbados and Eswatini have made strides in achieving gender parity in professional roles, showing that progress is possible through dedicated policy efforts. I also show that in many African countries, Black women still face educational barriers, particularly at the tertiary level, where female enrollment is significantly lower than male enrollment. So I went and pulled some facts, and let's talk about it.
Where do we start, guys? Nicole,
there's so much to say. My God, there's so much to say.
Let's start here. Let's talk about some of the things that we talked about before. How does the lack of representation of Black women in higher level roles impact career advancement and mentorship opportunities? And then how do stereotypes about Black women affect workplace interactions, and how do we challenge these biases? So let's start with where we are in the world. Now, in the United States, you can do a lot of research and you'll find that African American women are hold some of the highest records for being the most educated, as well as being the largest group of self-employed or entrepreneurs in the United States. Let's talk about how we got there and why we are there.
Well, I think I read something in the UK that said over 50% of Black women in the UK quit jobs due to racial inequalities. 68% due to racism. Yeah. Yes. And 92% of Black women said that they wanted to see systemic change within their workplace. Now, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. You're quitting your job. 50% of women in the UK.
That's a big number.
That's a huge number.
That's enough. And I think from that comes building our own lanes. So as a result, we are growing as entrepreneurs, business owners, and because we are creating our own, we understand that unless the only way to really create change is not to keep forcing it within the workplace, but actually create the actual organizations and businesses that people come in where there's already change.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, because that's sort of similar to what's happened and what's going on here in the United States. I believe the reason why there are so many African American female business owners is because we don't get the recognition or the support that we need within our jobs or within corporations. Because another fact that I actually have is there are very few African American women in higher level positions, which means if you don't go out there and open your own business, the chances of you getting promoted to CFO, CEO, anything like that after working for a company for over 20 years, you're giving your all, and you're qualified to do positions that you're getting skipped over. So it makes sense that we go out here and we open our own businesses. It makes sense that we create lanes and opportunities for other people that look like us.
I've seen in my organization that I work with part-time, they are a social housing organization. And I'd say back in the 80s, there was a massive a massive employment drive that had a large amount of ethnic minorities within the local authority kind of positions, yeah? So within housing or, post office or things like that, the mail service, all of those had a high percentage of ethnic minorities. Now, if you're thinking the 80s, we're talking nearly 40 years. Now, going fast forward, some of those ladies that were in that, the original housing department were Black women, have now transferred over to my organization. Now they've got how many years experience? 30 years of experience. Now tell me how many of those are in senior management roles?
Yeah.
I would say if there was say 20 that have got 20 years plus, 30 years plus experience, if there's 20 of them, I'd say senior roles, which is like a high level manager, maybe two, if that. So anyone who's coming as a director, exec director, whatever it is, operations director, they're literally coming from companies like Amazon and Boohoo. They're not even coming from a housing background or housing background.
You're saying the same thing we're seeing, where people are getting positions within a company, but they haven't worked for those companies. They haven't been in those companies.
In industry.
And
they don't have experience in that
then they're passing over Black women who are not only qualified via education, qualified via experience for those positions as well. So again, that goes back to what you stated about in the UK, 50% of the women quitting their jobs because of systemic racism and because of racial relations and because they're not feeling appreciated in those positions.
And then so I think in the back of your brain, I mean, as a young girl, young woman, whatever, you are told to some degree sometimes. I'm not going to play that whole card, but I think there is a level of people saying to you, you are going to have to work twice as hard, you are going to have to do twice as much. And so when you're looking at the box standard education and thinking, okay, I'm going through this path of education, she's going through that path of education, if I don't do a little bit more, forget it, I ain't getting that job that she's
got. It's called
so we see overcompensate, I think, anyway.
So what I was saying was it all stems down to occupational segregation, and that is where we are actually the most educated, and this is here in the United States. I'm going to just assume that, and I know it's not that way in every country, but again, we are the most educated. We have to go to college in order to get some of these positions that other people do not have to go to college for. So we'll go get the education, we'll work the job for 20 years and get the experience, but we won't get the promotions, we won't get the support, we won't, again, it'll fall back on, oh, your attitude sucks, or we love you where you are, and not really seeing you for who you are. A lot of times you get a lot of Black women who say they've trained their managers to do their job.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And I mean, it's so sad because, like I said, I've been reading quite a lot about this, and even it said 31% of Black females feel like they are overlooked for a promotion.
Oh, absolutely.
So if we're talking about, we've got 10 ladies, all probably more than qualified. Okay, what are we saying here? That all 10?
And I can speak from experience.
I was going to say, Nicole, chime in at any point, please.
Ooh, I can speak from experience. I can speak from experience working. So working in France can be very particular in the sense that there are still a very old and I will say mindset, and especially towards women as well. The difference in salary between a man and a woman is really high. Let's start there.
That still happens here. Keep going, Nicole.
Very often, I was working for a business school here in Paris with international location, a campus in London, Berlin, Madrid, Turin, and an international school at that. And in my experience, when I arrived, I was still the only Black woman in my department in 2021.
How about now in 2024? What does that look like?
After I came in, other sisters came in.
After I come in, Nicole was like, you're hired.
That was such a shock for me, because I'm like, you cannot tell me with the number of Black women that I know who have graduated, who have like bachelor's, masters. One of my several family members of mine have double bachelor's, double masters. My best friend have an MBA, another master's, and I'm like, you cannot tell me that there's not any one of us. I am the only Black woman like walking this.
Listen, here's what I do have a research point to what you say. And the Economic Policy Institute released a study in 2023 that says that even Black women with advanced degrees make less per hour than men with only a basic college degree.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yeah. That makes absolute sense. That makes absolute sense.
But I think the main thing in all of this is that it's being recognized. We're all recognizing it, and other Black women are recognizing it. And I think that's the positive in this, that we are creating our own lanes, and not just creating our own lanes. I'd like to think that I have an adult daughter who's looking, saying, actually, I'm just doing this job for now, but I know eventually I need to move over to my own lane. And I think we need to promote that anything you do in regards to employment has a ceiling. It doesn't matter where you want to, you might be, like you said, you might be a chief exec, but it's got a ceiling. If they don't fancy you anymore and the board don't really, or whatever, anything can change when it's not yours. Or if it's not genuine. So like I said, if the person who's taking you on doesn't particularly look like you, or trying to invest into you.
Absolutely.
So I would say you need to always be looking at creating your own, and then allowing others to come through, what Nicole's done. Like, look,
and in my experience, in what I have lived since I'm no longer working in that place, is that in my case, I had been promoted as an operation manager. And then, but my experience, I've been in admin for a very long time, and I got myself up to being a chief of staff. I requested that position. I was denied, but yet it was given to someone who wasn't even speaking a word of English, had no degrees, but she was a friend of the boss. So I'm laughing about it now. But let me tell you, I was fuming when.
Let me ask you a question, Nicole.
I was incensed inside.
Really. Let me ask you a question. Did you have to train them?
I was like, no, bitch, I'm not training you.
Wait, what did you do? What was it that you done? What did you do yesterday?
Let me tell you, this is what that person did. She basically looked at my resume, looked at all those things that I've done, and did copy and paste. But I know my resume by heart because I know my life by heart. I didn't invent it. I lived it.
Wow.
Copy.
Can you do your little middle finger thing that you do?
Copied, paste. But the thing that she didn't realize.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I had to get over the initial shock of what you said.
She said copy and paste.
Yeah. So I had a discussion yesterday with one of my friends, and we were talking about how she had done the same thing in one of the roles that she was trying to do. She found a resume that would suit this role, and she said that because she was a Black woman, someone told on her.
Wow.
But her other counterparts had gotten away with doing the same thing. So someone actually told on her, and she lost the position because they said she falsified her resume, not because of anything. She was doing the job wonderfully and doing the job well because she knew she was qualified for the position. She said someone told on her. So to hear you talk about this and to hear you say this, Nicole, I'm like,
yes, that person wasn't even bilingual.
Yes, there was a story about this lady here in the United States. And there have been many stories that have come out about people who have falsified their resumes here and have hired, and it's white people, white women, all of that, white men who have been given higher roles and higher positions until investigated by outside sources like the news or something. And it's only then that it's found out that they falsified
the news, the news. You have to get to the news.
Yeah. But in a high position, but the thing is, for jobs, sometimes for a resume, it's really a matter of using like specific terms, professional terms. But in my case, that person said, "Oh, I want to be a chief of staff. I'm looking at Nicole's resume. Oh, I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm just absolutely going to be overlooking the experience and the life
she was friends with your boss, correct?
Yeah.
So how did she get a copy of your resume if your boss didn't?
Because she used the kicker. She used to work in HR. Let me tell you. She used to work in HR and she was the person who hired me. So basically, she knew all the things that I was doing. Well, on top, I have been promoted and all. She knew all the things I'm doing. She used my credentials to her advantage. But let me tell you this. Karma is a bitch. Let me tell you this. Because one of my ex-colleagues called me, like basically at the beginning of the week, telling me, Nicole, I know you don't really care about us anymore, but I just wanted to say this. This person had a meeting with the director of HR because their performance was subpar. I was like, this is
Good.
when you compliment, drop the mic. I don't care. I'm gone. But it is to say, you know, the thing that people don't realize, it's really the extents for us to do our job. We studied. I went back to school. I was a single mom. I
Yeah.
raised my
Yeah.
child. I sent my child to college on a single mom salary.
Go
At the
on.
time, I was making $45,000 a year.
Wow. And this
Okay,
is what I'm saying. These are the stories, yeah, that
so
people don't
this is
understand.
why we get angry, and for good reason.
Well,
Because
see, let's
people
talk
look at the
about,
resumes and say, "Oh, that
yeah.
looks nice," but they don't see all the work, the hardships, the
I was just
pride,
going to
the
say,
studying.
let's talk about what you just said. Being the unpaid caregiving burden that comes along with our lives. I have a fact about that. It says Black women, like many other women of color, disproportionately bear the burden of unpaid caregiving, which limits their workforce participation and career advancement. So even despite us being the primary roles in our families, we're going out here, we're educating ourselves, educating our children, educating everyone else around us.
And I do the community. This is
Yeah.
what I'm saying. This is
And
what
then,
we do. We do it naturally. We just do it
Yeah.
naturally. And it's so weird because the other day, I mean, I've probably put just over 1,000 women through education of some sort. My business was to reinvent what a community college looks like basically here, and start putting it in unused buildings, education in unused buildings in the heart of deprived areas, because
That's brilliant.
because
awesome,
I
awesome,
looked,
That's
Lauren.
brilliant.
and college doesn't work for everybody. The
No,
times don't work. They've got to work around children, but why should they not have an education?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they
Mm.
play with other parents? Why shouldn't they be able to network? Why shouldn't they have a safe space? So that was my model around that, and that was from working in the community and just listening to people saying, like what their barriers were, and then just saying they're not barriers. No one, just don't think of you. That's all. So that's why I created what I
That part.
created.
That part.
yeah. You're literally speaking to what we're talking about. We don't get thought about. It doesn't occur to other people to
Yeah.
think about our challenges and the things that we face in the world. So kudos to you for even carving that lane.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I don't look at it as work. And it's because it's just so rewarding. It's not work for me. Like, I love what I do, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I didn't realize how big until, like I said, my stats came back and it was like, you've done over 1,000 women, you've done and they all started coming out and telling me about where their journeys have led them. I've had some ladies with me for 4 years. They just keep doing courses after courses because it's become their safe space. Their place where they come, and
Now,
it's just
This is amazing.
now
This is
let me ask
amazing.
you something, Lauren. Do you think you created this space out of, some of the things that you've seen Black women or women of color or women who are underrepresented go through?
Or
that
the
part.
lack of it.
Underrepresented 100%. We one of the courses that I run is called autistic course, level 2 in autism course. if you go to some of the private areas and you've got maybe a child that you believe might have some learning difficulties or autistic, whatever it was, they were getting fobbed off by professionals. So they would go in and say, I need help, and they, by to the doctors, to professionals, and they would just get thrown out the door with some kind of jargon. Yes, you've got a waiting list of 5 years or whatever it might be. So this course is so in depth. It's a real qualification. And some of the mums have said, since I've done it, I'm marching there. I know what my rights are. I know what they need to be looking out for my child. So I'm telling them now, I feel so empowered that they can't just shut me out and throw me out. And whereas before they didn't have the education, the knowledge, the stuff to be able to feel like they
make a difference. You allow them to be able to make a difference. So, to show up differently and to be really recognized and seen, to be seen.
Some just need
you empowered them to be able to not only speak on their kids' behalf, but speak on their behalf as well.
Exactly.
Feel heard. But like I said to you guys the other day, it's really interesting. Maybe it's the areas that I'm doing it in, but I don't really have a lot of Black women. I have a lot of Asian women. I have a lot of Eastern European women, white women, but not really Black. And I wonder if it's because we've taken our own roots up. We've got up and we've just got on with it ourselves,
And that's what I was going to say. Perhaps it's because you do it don't you work in low income areas and things like that? So what I'm learning here in the United States, we even though a portion of us are considered low income, we're actually more middle class and in that area than we are anywhere. Because here's the thing that we're not realizing about the low income. It's not accepted for us to be low income anymore. Meaning that, remember when we talked 2 episodes ago about stereotypes, one of the biggest stereotypes that we face is being welfare queens or ghetto. So we've made a point not to do that. So even as a single mom, you don't literally fall under the low income level. They give you the things that they can because you're an underrepresented race, but you don't really fall in the low income level. That's why I say you can do a lot of studies and you'll realize that it's not a lot of Black women on welfare.
No.
It's not a lot of Black women.
I do believe that they are, I mean, I don't know what it's like in France. I do believe in the UK, we are low paid.
Yes, we're low paid, but we're middle income.
But a lot of Black women are working and fully integrated, even if it's part-time. But they will make you believe that there's a high percentage of Black people.
But it's not. It's not.
It's very often not.
Yeah. It is not. We can't afford to be, if you get what I'm saying. Meaning that we have to support ourselves and our children. So we don't. It's not like we're going out here. We're living off the state. We're living off the system. No, it is very rare that you find that many Black women. Now, if you go to a highly Black populated area, you're gonna see those. You're gonna like if you come here to Atlanta, you're definitely gonna see a lot of Black women in the DFC office, the DFACS office, in those offices. But this area is a highly populated African American area, so you're definitely gonna have those numbers here. However, if you look at the numbers, I'm not even going to say worldwide. I'm going to say countrywide, nationwide here in the United States. Our numbers are not that we're not the ones. We're not the highest rate of low income. The highest rate of low income here in America, unfortunately, is also Caucasian people.
And also, I'm finding that, from what I done is that I went to university quite late. I done everything quite late because I had my daughter quite young. I got up until college, and then I literally had her like a few weeks after doing my last exam. I think I was like wobbling into the last weeks, and then went and had her. But it was something that my mum was kind of saying, oh, you know, you're going to end up being sort of one of those mums, them young single. And from that, it just stuck in my head.
Oh my God, yes. Okay, so I got the same speech from you that your mom gave you, but I got it from my dad because my dad's my primary parent. So check this out. I was pregnant, got pregnant right after high school, my first semester in college. Okay. So my dad sat me down and had a long conversation with me about this woman here in Georgia, Black judge. Okay. And he talked to me about, first of all, my father was a head of state. He was commissioner, Department of Human Resources for the state of Georgia. So his statistics were spot on. Okay. The first thing he told me, which he prevented because I only have one child, is that most Black teenage girls who have babies in their teen years usually have another baby another 2 years later. Me, I've always wanted not to be a statistic, so I fought that.
That was the same as me. Yeah. I was like, I learned my lesson.
Listen. So as you see, I'm 44 and I only have one child. Okay. Now here's the other one that he gave me. He told me about a judge here in Atlanta. And he said, I don't want you to feel like you're going to be stifled by anything or that you can't do anything. There is a judge who got pregnant at 16 with twins. She had twin children, and she still fought her way through getting her high school diploma. She fought her way through going to college. She fought her way through, you know, going to getting her what is it? What's the test that they take to become passing the bar?
Yes.
And then she went on to become a high-level judge here in Georgia, and she was a Black woman. So he made it very, very clear that being a teenage mom was not something that should stifle me or hold me back. As a matter of fact, it should help propel me to where I want to be and who I want to be in the world.
Did you was you educated in France, Nicole? Did you get all
Yes. All my schooling was done in France, and then I went back to college when I was in the US. Actually, I took a lot of the thing that, let me say something that is really cool about the US. You can take so many classes online.
Yeah,
you can.
And this is what you're saying, that more people are doing that, right?
Free. You can take many free classes online. When I first arrived, when I was living in New York, I took some classes at NYU. I took courses, and every time I was taking as much class as I could. And the last thing is now working on my MBA, and I should be graduating this fall.
Nicole just proves the point that these things are possible, and we as Black women are taking advantage of these things. Like she said, there are a lot of free courses here in the US. You can take a lot of free classes at different colleges.
And really university level classes.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, you can listen, even if you don't take the class, you can what's the word I'm looking for?
Get a certificate.
Yeah, you can get a certificate, but no, what's the word? Where you can audit the class and sit in on the class. So you still learn the information that's being taught in the class. Yeah. And you can go and take that and get a certification by taking a lower level class. But now you have both the education from the higher level class and the certification to match it and go along with it. There are so many avenues for us here. That's why I said we're no longer considered low income. And that's why, Lauren, even for you guys over there, Black women don't have the opportunity to be low income anymore. We've got to be.
I just think it's one of those things where no matter what we do going forward, as you know, the Black woman, shall I say, what we do going forward, we always need to remember we need to continue to open the door behind us. We need to continue to say like I said, if I'm talking to my daughter, I say, this job thing, this is great, do your job.
Yeah, but we've got to forge, like you said, we've got to forge those lanes.
What's happening? Where are you gonna?
Yeah.
What's next? You know, what is next? I mean, my daughter is a real inspiration to me because she will do things. I mean, she rang me once and she was like, oh, I'm doing this qualification. I think it's called TOEFL. It's to teach English to foreign language. TOEFL or something like that.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'm doing it. This was like on the Thursday. So say she rang me like on a Thursday. She was like, yeah, I'm doing this qualification. You know, I just think it'd be good for me. I was like, oh, that's great. She's like, yeah, teaching people English. She said, but I need to finish it. In order to finish it, I need to get the hours. So I need to go to Italy. And I was like, okay, that's great. She goes, yes, I'm going to go to Italy for like 2 weeks and just, you know, wrap it up and stuff. I was like, that's great. When you go? She goes, tomorrow. I was like, what? She was like, she packed her little bag just straight away and went. And I love that. I love the fact that she will just go. She doesn't think about anything.
Yeah.
She had a little rucksack on and she was in Italy teaching.
Well, look at the way you've inspired her. Look at the way, and even let's talk about Nicole's child, who is now doing movies and films. Okay, so look at
right.
think about the strides that these Black young people are making. But let's not forget that those doors had to be open. We had to go out there and create these lanes and forge these lanes and fight very hard for our kids to be able to do things.
Yeah.
Just like those before us, I suppose.
Because yes, absolutely. Our
it's our duty, isn't it? Really, it's our duty. Yeah. I think the difference is we were kind of always taught to go up maybe a corporate ladder or maybe go up in a business rather than creating our own. And I think now the narrative has to be about creating your own. You can only build from your own, as in, you know, you create. And you build on it.
Yeah, that goes back to mentorship. So let me ask you ladies this. What role, because we just talked about this a little bit in depth, what role does mentorship play in professional development? And do you think Black women have access to sufficient mentorship opportunities?
Not enough.
We are the mentorship. We don't have access to
it. Because I was asked many times to give advice, and I gave advice quite a little bit and directed people into other positions within the organization in the last 2 years that I did. And before that, because I was always a good ear, and because I'm very observant, I can always give a good feedback. But to have a mentor for myself, it was hard to find. But I was very lucky in my professional life to have Black male mentors. That was cool. That was really cool. I was very lucky in that sense.
So I don't feel like I've had any. I feel like there are certain people that might have inspired me to kind of want to be better.
Yeah.
And I think fear drove me a lot. The fact that I didn't want to be stuck. I didn't want to be a single mom stuck. I didn't want to be in that where I can't move. And that was a drive behind me. But I think now, sometimes I allow too much access to me. So, you know, when you talk about mentorship, Cami, sometimes I believe that I give so much sometimes that I'm not focusing on myself, and we go back to.
Okay, so that brings me to another question, and I was thinking about whether I should ask this or not. How do you think balance between our professional ambitions? How do we balance between our professional ambitions with self-care, especially when the pressure to prove yourself feels overwhelming? And that's a little bit about what you were really just talking about. We don't really give ourselves. Do you think we don't take care of ourselves enough? Which goes back to our conversation last week about our mental stability and why we are the way we are.
Mm-hmm. I literally today I put a message on my status and I was like, my eyes are bleeding. Like, what is going on? Like, I can't sleep properly. I literally don't know what day it is. I'm just like, but if someone calls me up and they're like, hi, you know, Lauren, I'm like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Do you know someone who could? Yeah, I know someone. Yeah, don't.
Yeah. I stayed up the other night working on some of my projects, but I don't do that. Don't do that. But what I didn't say was
Nicole, I'm gonna rat on her right now. Just pause, put a pin in that. Nicole, I had a message on my Facebook Messenger. And it was Cammy, so I'd said something, and she sent a message straight back, and I was like, okay. And I sent a message back to her. She sent, and then I realized, hold on, I'm 5 hours ahead. What are you doing up at 3 a.m.? Like,
I never answered her after that. After she said that, I didn't say another
but
word.
she knew she would get in trouble.
I never, when she said
that is so
like,
funny.
Said,
That is so funny.
What are you doing up? I never said a word back.
Yeah, she was like, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, I looked at the message. I said, I'm not about to be fussed at tonight. But no, I was up working on my stuff because during the day, when people call me and say, hey, Cammie, can you do this? Hey, Cammie, can you do that? I'm always saying, oh, absolutely, absolutely. Again, another discussion with someone yesterday where we talked about how do you set those boundaries? How do you tell people, hey, like if we're in business as coaches, if we're in business as doing certain things, when people call us, even our friends, and say, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you give me some advice on that? When do you say, okay, if I'll give you a little bit of advice, but if we have to go in depth, then I need you to book through my appointment calendar.
That is when it always becomes a problem.
Yeah,
I've got
ladies
friends that are in the beauty and the hair industry, beauty and hair. And I feel so sorry for them because people do take their talents for granted, as in like, even if, I mean, I've done it before, you know, like if we've gone away on holiday and my friend who is a hairstylist, you know, I'll be like, do you mind just doing, you know, but she needs a holiday too, you know, and this is what we forget. So I think if you're in certain industries, there has to be a professional line.
This is what we call boundaries.
I was just going to say, I've learned
boundaries, people. Yeah. Boundaries.
People will ask me once they find out I'm a nutritionist, they'll say, hey, so can you give me some nutritional tips?
Yeah, hey, can you give me some advice?
Here's my response to that. Nutrition isn't a one
session.
A one thing fix all type of situation. I don't know your issues and I don't know what you're going through, but what I can do is if you go to my website, fill out the form and let me know everything that you need assistance with, we can set up a consultation and we can go from there.
Exactly.
The thing is, I think in my everyday, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about if I am helping people. Like I said, every once in a while, something will come and it will like, oh, you know, this is like, thank you so much because this has happened. I'm like, oh, no worries, but I'm just in this little wheel that just keeps going round and round. And actually, I've definitely felt in the last few weeks, I need to start taking a bit more care of myself. I can feel it, you know, like speaking to you guys and what you've been through and trying to keep pushing through until you got to the point of like, you know, you have to understand where your levels are and what you can offer. Because how do we then build our profession and move up? Because I don't think people would necessarily do it to other people, if you know what I mean. Like, I
think let's keep it all the way 100. Okay? let's keep it all the way 100. It comes from inside the house and not outside the house, right, as I like to say. It comes from our own people, and I love our own people, but they know when I say this, I'm keeping it $100. Okay, they wouldn't go to white people and ask them for the same thing. Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
They wouldn't go to others' business.
Nicole, why are you laughing like that?
You know, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, that's right. You know, calling you at wee hours for some stuff. No, at some point there's, you know, like Cammie was just saying so nicely, if you require additional information, please book an appointment through the link below.
Yeah.
Looking forward to talking to you.
I need to get to that because I do. I reply back to people at like 1:45 in the morning.
No,
Listen, let me tell you something. When I was texting you the other morning, I wasn't texting you talking about business, was I?
No,
business call.
That doesn't matter. That means you probably finished your business at midnight, and then actually you're going into your normal time at 1 a.m. Nuh-uh. Don't even go there. Don't do that.
All I'm saying is you gotta, those boundaries have to be set. If people are texting you at 1 a.m. about business, then what you respond and say is, my business hours are from this time until this time. If you are unable to reach me, let's set up an appointment so that I can be available for you at a time that works for both of us.
I will say, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I will say, like, part of me building the businesses I have actually leaves me in constant panic of always making sure I can maintain.
Yes, because you do not take a break.
No, I know, but
because you do not take a break, so that
I have a massive fear.
That generates a feeling of all these things that are incoming, instead of giving yourself a rest past 6 p.m. You're not responding to inquiries, and you're going to check it the next day.
But see what you just said. Listen to what Nicole is saying, and also listen to what you're saying. Nicole is telling you that you need to take a break, but what's happening is fear and anxiety are preventing you from actually taking a break. Because what we just said about Black women not being in that percentage of low income is what drives us not to be in that low percentage. What you just said, the fear of going backwards, the fear of failing, the fear of
I always say my worst nightmare now is to work for somebody on a 9-to-5 basis. Like, that to me would just be like a nail in a coffin, because I'm so used, even like now, I mean, the organization I work for, amazing. They let me get on with what I need to get on with, that's how I like to work. But a lot of them don't know about my other businesses. So they just look at me as like, probably like a mom that's like working part-time. That's what they think. I've never disclosed that I have businesses around. I always that's my job, so they think I come in, do my 3 days or whatever, and then that's it. So they have this thing, and sometimes like the hierarchy, the managers, the senior managers, sometimes how they talk to you and stuff, obviously it's a bit patronizing, and I think, like, literally, I run 3-4 businesses, and you're talking to me like this, but I can't ever say it. I've just got to go like.
It goes back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation when you were talking about the women in UK. 50% of them leaving the company because of certain things. That goes that right there. You're actually telling why 50%
Exactly. So, like you said, the fear, Nicole, of going back into that and being told you're never going to go past this level. And they've told me that before. I've been in companies where they've told me dead in my eye, don't be looking above this station, because this is going to be your level. You're not going to get to that level. And actually, I just branched out and I smashed it. And it was within education. It was in the same field that I'm in now, but I just created my own. I took the same kind of parts of what happens in a college and moved it out into places where I know that there's a need for it. So, and I think and that's it. And I'd like to actually meet the gentleman who headed up that college at the time, who said to me, like, you're only going to be an administrator, you're not going to be anything.
Just send him a pamphlet about your services.
I was going to say, all you need to
the thing that you need to think about as well, Lorraine, is that you need to make sure that you don't overdo it. Don't move by fear. I'm gonna do your best to not move by fear. Try to go past it. You're doing the work. You're doing it. You're improving those ladies' life, and this is amazing. But you need to think about you, because now you're the locomotive.
The wheel sometimes.
So here's the thing, Lauren,
and you come first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're not around, who's gonna do it?
I'm not even talking to you, Cammy. Like you don't even enter this conversation. Sorry, Nicole, what was she saying? Can you mute Cammy, please? Can someone mute Cammy? We're not listening to Cammy.
Why aren't you talking to me?
Because you need to write them words down, and then later on you need to open that same damn page and read it, okay?
I do rest sometimes.
You're cracking me up.
Nicole, you are the voice of reason. We are not listening to
you just don't, it's a business like every other business, closed after a certain time, 6 p.m. So this way you have time to really be there for your son and your daughter.
Yeah.
To chill, to relax, to prep and organize your things for the next day. And it's not a dying matter. Nobody's dying.
No.
Nobody's dying.
Because of the nature of the vulnerability. Once again, we're the givers, we're the support mechanism. We are so you do feel like, so it is about me separate, and I've done a lot of this year understanding that I need to start separating Lauren's sort of, Lauren and work, and I've got to learn that the compassion can be there between this time and this time, but after that I need it for myself.
You begin to identify yourself as what you are as opposed to who you are.
Your business.
And what we have to do, and we have to remember, and we are all guilty of this, all three of us on this phone.
Sure are.
We
I can
are.
Speak from experience.
I'm not just fussing at you. I'm not just fussing at Nicole. And even though you don't want to hear from me, because we know what I do, okay? We are all guilty of it. We define ourselves by what we do, what we've accomplished, where we are going business wise or career wise, as opposed to actually defining who we are as a person and taking care of that person. So we're so focused on taking care of that business and being that person in business, but we forget that we are a person. You are a thing. You need, and I'm talking to, watch this, and I'm talking to Cammy when I say this, you need rest. You need, don't do that. You need, like you say,
I'm so glad that Nicole backs me up, It's me and Nicole. We got this.
Listen, I know that I'm giving advice that I don't necessarily take all the time.
I think we need to.
It is hard. It's just the thing that it is hard actually, because the thing is as well, and I can feel that in you, Lauren, you just absolutely love what you do.
Yeah.
It really,
I do. Like I said, it's not work.
It's transpire. But in order to be able to go far, you need to manage your your car pretty much.
My thing is, I just need to be on a beach, and then I need to go to Atlanta, and then I need to come to Paris, and then and I just keep repeating that, and then I get all these ladies messaging me saying, "Hi, we haven't seen you in 6 months. Where have you been?" I'll be like, I've been in the
Let me ask you a question. Do you not think doing that will make you a better business owner? Meaning that it'll give you will free your mind from the worries and the anxieties, giving yourself the ability to go back and be a better version of yourself afterwards. And that, let me say this. Let me be very frank with you. That's why in between, when I do rest and I take time and my body makes me rest, I come back 10 times harder, because while I'm resting, I'm not using my brain. I'm not using the things that, like, one day I literally just sat up here, and I think I told you guys this, and I just watched TV. My assistant told me I needed to learn how to watch TV. So I turned on Netflix. Shut up, Lauren. I turned on Netflix, and
I love this.
You know why? Because I just got like an image of you going,
Yeah. I turned on Netflix.
It's not on.
Yeah. And I watched.
Absolutely.
I think I what do you call it? Vegged out on a season's worth of TV shows, and I
Okay.
didn't do anything. I didn't open my laptop. I barely looked at my phone.
Yeah.
Those are the things. Like right now, I so badly want to take a break from social media because I know that social media drives our anxiety. It drives
Yeah.
our
It
depression.
It really
really
It,
does.
does.
It
yeah,
It
really,
really
it
does.
really
makes us
does. It really
feel
does.
like we're not accomplishing as much as we need to accomplish. When in reality, that's not true.
No.
That's
Yeah.
not true. That's not true at all. So when I was telling you guys the other day, I want to take a break from social media, but I know I can't do that right now because of everything that we have going on and everything that I have going
But it's
on.
important that we just schedule it appropriately. So you
Yeah.
might have maybe 2 or
Yeah.
3 busy days, and
So
then
here's the thing. If
maybe
you notice, pay attention. In the last 2 days, I haven't posted on social media at all. So
good girl. Good.
yeah, so
So
I'm
do you know what
giving
that means, Nicole? That means for the next 3 days, she's going to be doubling up.
I am not.
That's right. I
Okay.
forgot about that.
You're going
I
to see
forgot about
Cammy,
that.
and then she's going to change her name to just KR, so we don't know it's her.
I am not. I am not. I am actually taking, like I said, I may stay up to 2 or 3 o'clock.
Choosing.
Yeah. I'm taking some time away from those things. The other night I stayed up to 2 or 3 o'clock. Last night I went to bed at 7. So,
Good.
you know, it's I'm finding balance. And it may not look like, everybody else's,
Mm.
and it may not be the way that,
It
everybody
has
else.
to work for you. It has
Yeah.
to, and like we've been saying this all along. Everything needs to work for everyone individually.
Yeah.
The main thing is that you take that time out. We said as well, and understand before as we dived in last
Okay.
week.
So
The
I want to
mental
ask you
health
ladies something. I got 2 questions before we wrap up. What advice would you give to younger Black women pursuing a similar career path, or given the challenges that you face or challenges that we know are out there in the world?
For me, use your younger years to be the sponge. Create your own lane. So, like I said, and make sure you enjoy whatever it is you're gonna do. Make sure you enjoy it, because, like I said, then you will go hard and you
Mm.
will create something really special. So, I think use your younger years to maybe put up with some of the shit by being employed. Use it, create it, make your own lane, and enjoy it. That's what I would probably say.
Yeah. That's a good one, Lauren. Yeah, I agree with you on there. For me, that would be gain experience, figure out what truly interests you and fuel your fire, really. And then create a long-lasting personal relationship at work. I'm still good friends with many of my colleagues from previous places, and that is key.
Yes.
That is key. It's
Yes.
key to have someone on the professional side that you have known for a long time. It's
Much.
a good thing to cultivate all those relationships.
You
But
know, when
really,
you say that, Nicole, it's really funny because I used to use my organization's name to open a door because they recognize that. Say I worked for Coca-Cola.
oh, yeah,
But I
absolutely.
used to go and say, "Hi, I'm Lauren from Coca-Cola." And they recognize that. So they used to say, "Oh, great. Okay, we will work with you." When
Mm.
they started to understand me and I used to deliver on what I said, it no longer became about Coca-Cola. It became about
It's
Lauren. So
about
no
you,
matter where you
exactly.
move, they will follow you because they know you deliver the goods. So you're so right, Nicole. Like once you build certain relationships, never.
The thing is, as well, when you do good work, you are remembered.
Yeah,
When you
absolutely.
do good work, you are remembered.
All right, you
You
guys,
know,
this is my last question. Looking forward, how can Black women continue to reshape narratives about success, leadership, and achievement in the workplace?
um, hmm. We need to focus on self-care more. We need to focus on self-care more. And we need also to make sure that we have a good game plan. a good game plan, and a community. Because when you have a community, you have a good sister girl right there that can counsel you here and say, okay, come over here, I got you. Several positions I had, it's because I had a friend in the place. So
yeah, I think I definitely concur with you, Nicole, with that. Definitely. I think you just got to kind of make sure that you're always looking around you to see how you can help, create those, those opportunities for others. And I think, exactly what you said, Nicole. I think just come together.
Yeah. Because you need to figure out how that works, how that looks like, and then you have the biggest picture on how you can make it happen for others as well.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. I'm going to leave us with one more fact, and it states a significant portion of women, particularly in developing regions, work in the informal sector where employment is often unregulated, leaving Black women more vulnerable to exploitation. So I just want to let you know that just because some of the things that we talked about today, they may not necessarily be true in your part of the world or where you live. Feel free again to drop us a video, an email, or a text to let us know what's going on in your part of the world where you are.
Oh, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
How Black women are being affected where you live. We would love to hear more from you. And with that being said, you guys, we're going to wrap up this episode. And again, today we talked about the empowerment of Black women through education and career and our journeys as Black women in professional spaces. But I think it's more so our journey as Black women in developing career, education, and professional spaces for other people as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. So this is the end of our episode. Thank you, Lauren and Nicole, for joining me again.
Thank you, Abby.
Thanks, Nicole.
Oh, you're welcome, Lauren. It's always so much fun to be together. I really like it.
Yeah, group hug. Okay.
I know, beautiful hug. That's so sweet.
Okay, you guys, again, this wraps up our episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dear Black Women, a podcast featuring Black women from different countries. We hope today's episode reminded you of the power that education and career can bring to shaping our identities and creating spaces for Black women to thrive. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with others who might need this message and leave us a review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow on any of your favorite podcast platforms. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can send us a video at Red Ladies, REDDLADYS at CamiRed.com, and we would love to hear from you. And of course, a special shout out to Rabbit Productions for providing the music that sets the tone for the beginning and the end of our conversations that we have here. Until next time, remember, your journey matters, your story matters, and you are powerful in every space that you step into.